What does intelligent design, the movement, mean?
Well, the theory of intelligent design is the idea that there are certain features of life and the universe that are best explained by a purposive intelligence rather than an undirected material process, such as in the realm of biology, natural selection acting on random mutations. Now that's a mouthful, it's a kind of a definition, but I can unpack that a little bit. And one way to do that is to contrast intelligent design with that specific meaning of evolution that the theory was designed to challenge.
Okay.
There are three meanings of evolution, three basic meanings. One is change over time. And that can refer to the fact that life is different now than it was a long time ago. We do not have the T-Rex running down Fifth Avenue. We don't have trilobites out in the Atlantic Ocean. Things are different now than they used to be. That change over time concept can also refer to the observable, modest changes that we see taking place in the structure of organisms. The famous Galapagos finches. When the weather patterns changed in the Galapagos a while back, it's documented that the birds with slightly longer beaks did better than the ones with shorter beaks. So you got a cyclical variation in the shape and size of beaks. So that's also an idea of change over time, or evolution in that sense. And the meaning, the idea of change over time is not really contentious or disputed. Second meaning of evolution is the idea.
It would be disputed
by almost
among
anyone.
Young Earth creationists.
Well, possibly. You know,
all right, they're not allowed into this club anymore.
Well, there would be.
But
a question of how long the time scale is involved in the change that has occurred.
But the basic idea, just so everybody's tracking, the basic idea of change over time, that life forms have changed over the millennia, eons, is not generally disputed.
Not generally disputed.
And that intelligent design...
We're certainly not disputing
and
evolution.
And every kind of evolution
right.
would say that happened.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Second meaning of evolution is the idea of common ancestry. And that can refer to universal common ancestry, the idea that all organisms are connected by what Darwin called descent from modification, from one single simple form, simple primordial form way back when. Or it could be a more limited thesis that certain groups of organisms are related by common ancestry. But the Darwinian idea was that the history of life is best represented as a kind of tree of life. And he actually drew a tree in The Origin to depict this, where the branches at the top of the tree represent all the forms of life that exist today. The trunk or the root of that tree represents that first primordial form, and the ones that only made it halfway up are the ones that got extinct. So it's a visual depiction of his idea about the history of life. And intelligent design is not challenging that either, although there are advocates of intelligent design who are skeptical about that.
Right.
And in fact, there are other scientists who are not pro-ID.
So you'd consider even common descent to be a theory, not necessarily
It's definitely
true.
a theory.
It's a theory.
It's an attempt to interpret certain facts that we have left behind,
Okay.
and certainly no one saw that whole history.
Right.
So it's a reconstruction based on the facts that are left behind, and it's one of many possible reconstructions. But it's not what intelligent design is challenging either. The intelligent design is challenging the third meaning of evolution. And that's the idea that there is an unguided, undirected process known as natural selection acting on random mutations that has produced all the forms of life we see, but also has produced the appearance of design that all biologists acknowledge, or nearly all biologists acknowledge. Richard Dawkins, the world's foremost spokesman for so-called neo-Darwinism, the modern textbook version of Darwin's theory, says that life is, that biology, rather, is the study of complicated things that give the appearance of having been designed for a purpose.
How clever of them.
It is the counterintuitive nature of the Darwinian idea. Right. That things look, yes, they look designed, whether it's that beautiful structure of the coiled nautilus or those intricate molecular machines or the chambered structure of the heart with all its plumbing and wiring. Many, many things in biology look as though they were designed, but the idea is that they were produced by an undirected, unguided process that produced the appearance of design. Right. So they would say natural selection has the power to mimic natural selection mimics the powers of designing intelligence, but it is not designed or guided in any way. Thus, the leading proponents of Darwinism will say that we have design without a designer. We have the appearance of design without a designer.
Is that what it's called, blind Darwinism?
Well, sometimes it's called the blind watchmaker hypothesis, after the title of one of Dawkins's famous books.
Okay.
And so intelligent design is challenging that, and the title, or the term intelligent design was selected intelligently, if you will, to make clear which of those three meanings of evolution we're challenging explicitly. We think that there are certain features of biological systems that were actually designed, and you can tell by examining the scientific evidence.
Okay, so just so that everyone's tracking with you and so that I'm tracking with you, I'm going to repeat back to you what you just said.
Sure.
But not tonight.
Not tonight.